Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Kyle Richards reveals her thoughts on stepping away from Housewives. Kyle Richards isn't sure when her time on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills will end. Speaking with People on October 23rd, the reality star says that 15 years on the show is a long time. "I don't know how long this can go on, how long I can go on for," she says. Kyle Richards is giving some insight into her future on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The reality star, 56, caught up with People at Raising Brows Live hosted by Anastasia Soar and Oprah Winfrey on Thursday, October 23rd, when she shared that the day obviously will come for her to depart the long-running Bravo show. But it's not today. For now, Richards has already finished filming season 15 as the last remaining original cast member on the show. She first appeared on Rob in 2010 alongside since-departed castmates Taylor Armstrong, Camille Meyer, Adrienne Maloof, Kim Richards and Lisa Vanderpump. It's been a long time. 15 years. It really is. It's a long time, Richards tells People while at the event, which took place at the Wilshire Ebel Theater in Los Angeles. "I don't know how long this can go on, how long I can go on for." Richards adds that there's been different times over the years where she considered her departure, but ultimately stayed on the show. "I think season 2, season 5. I can think of a number of seasons where I almost walked away," she says. "But 15 years is a long time and there's things I want to do, and it takes up a lot of time. And Portia Umansky is going to college, so who knows." Richards shares 17-year-old Portia, Alexia Simone, 29, and Sophia Kiley, 25, with ex-husband Mauricio Umansky. She's also mom to 36-year-old Farrah Brittany Aljafri, whom she welcomed with ex-Gurish Aljafri. Season 14, which last aired in April, explored Richards navigating her split from her estranged husband. At the time, she told People during an unforgettable evening benefiting the Women's Cancer Research Fund event that she needed to make that decision about returning to the hit Bravo series for season 15 as that the clock was ticking. "It's very difficult for your life to be out there and have the world weighing in on analyzing things and people not knowing you know the full scope of full details," she said. "And judging you without being able to explain everything. It's very difficult. So it depends on what year and what season, whether I can handle it or not," she added. Garcelle Beauvais exited the series in March following the conclusion of season 14, whereas Rachel Zoe was announced to be joining the cast for season 15. She said at the time that it was time to sit with an amazing group of women and really talk about my new life and what that looks like. "It's very organic," Zoe, 54, told People of filming the new season. For more than a decade, Kyle Richards stood at the heart of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the thread that wove together storylines, friendships, rivalries, and an entire cultural phenomenon. So when whispers turned into confirmation that she was stepping away from the franchise that had transformed her life, the shock rippled across Bravo fandom like an earthquake. After all, could people even imagine Rob without Kyle, its original diamond holder and unofficial narrator? Now, for the first time since that seismic decision, Kyle is pulling back the curtain on her emotions, motivations, and hopes for the future. Her voice is calm, thoughtful, and layered with both relief and nostalgia. "Stepping away wasn't an impulsive move," she explains. "More like the end of a long chapter she'd been sensing was coming. It's strange to think about life without the cameras constantly around," she admits. "But at the same time, it feels like exactly what I need." A journey she never expected. Kyle joined Rob when reality TV was still considered a cultural experiment more than a legitimate entertainment category. She entered the show as the grounded former child star married to Hollywood real estate mogul Mauricio Umansky, juggling motherhood, family, and the spotlight. She never guessed that the series would grow into a global franchise, or that she herself would become one of its most enduring faces. "It's wild to think I've been doing this for so long," Kyle reflects. "It started out as something fun, something new. And then suddenly, it became this huge universe that people were obsessed with." Over the years, she became the show's compass. Sometimes the peacemaker, sometimes the pot stirrer, always the anchor. Fans watched her navigate rifts with her sister Kim, tensions with Kathy Hilton, shifting friendships with fellow housewives, and the ebbs and flows of her marriage. The public felt invested in her life, sometimes more than Kyle herself ever anticipated. "That's part of what made it hard," she says. "People were constantly weighing in on things before I even had a chance to process them myself." The turning point. So why step away now? Kyle describes the shift as gradual, creeping in through late-night conversations, therapy sessions, and moments of unexpected quiet. There wasn't one dramatic event that made the decision for me, she explains. It was more like a series of small realizations. Times when I didn't feel like myself anymore, or when I felt like I was performing instead of simply living. Season after season, she became increasingly aware of how much emotional labor the show required. Friendships became battlegrounds, misunderstandings were magnified, and every personal choice could be twisted or turned into a storyline. You start to feel like you owe everyone access to your life, even the parts you would normally only share with the people closest to you, Kyle notes. And after so many years, that gets exhausting. During recent seasons, fans sensed this shift, Kyle pulling inward, becoming more guarded. There were still flashes of the quick-witted, good-humored woman they adored, but a quiet heaviness seemed to linger just behind her eyes. I realized I needed space to breathe, without feeling like a camera was watching me exhale. The price of fame. For all the glitz and glamour, Kyle is candid about the costs of being on Rob. The show amplified real fissures in her relationships, especially within her own family. The tension with Kim alone became iconic and painful television. I'll always say I love my sister more than any storyline, she says. But the show made things complicated in ways I never expected. Her relationship with Mauricio was also scrutinized, dissected, and speculated on for years. Whether joyful milestones or difficult seasons, fans demanded full access and commentary. There were moments I wished I could shield parts of my life, Kyle explains. But that's not how this show works. When you sign on, it becomes fair game. Still, she isn't bitter. If anything, her reflections are balanced, gratefulness mingling with weariness. I wouldn't trade those years for anything, she emphasizes. They shaped me. They pushed me. They brought new opportunities. But there comes a point when you have to think about protecting your peace. The rewards. Despite the challenges, Kyle beams when she talks about what the show gave her. Lifelong friendships. Career opportunities. A platform to advocate for causes she cares about. And, of course, a fan base that supported her through every transformation. I have so much love for the people who watched me grow up all over again, smiles, she says. Mysterious, assured. She doesn't offer a detailed breakdown but promises that new creative adventures are already unfolding. I feel like I'm entering a new chapter where I get to choose what parts of my life I share, she says. There's freedom in that. She talks about wanting to pursue projects that feel meaningful, whether in entertainment, philanthropy, or unexpected arenas. She also hopes to spend more time with her children, exploring new travel destinations, and reconnecting with the simple joys that sometimes got overshadowed by the chaos of filming. My family has always been my foundation, she says. And now I finally have room to just be with them, without thinking about how it'll play on TV. No regrets. If there's one message Kyle wants to make clear, it's that stepping away is not an act of resentment or defeat. It's an act of self-awareness. You can love something and still know it's time to move on, she says. The show gave me so much. But right now, I feel like I'm being called somewhere else. She carries no illusions about how strange it will be to watch Rob as a viewer rather than a cast member. But she's excited too, to see where the franchise goes, and where she goes alongside it. It's still part of my story, Kyle reflects. Just not the whole story. A graceful transition. There's a humility in Kyle's tone that suggests peace. She isn't chasing a scandalous exit or attempting to rewrite history. She's simply acknowledging that everything has a season. For so long, my life happened on camera, she says. Now, I'm learning what it feels like to live off camera again. It's different. But in the best way. And with that, Kyle Richards steps away. Not fading, but evolving. Not disappearing, but redirecting. Leaving behind a legacy of laughter, tears, resilience, and unforgettable Beverly Hills drama. One chapter ends. Another begins.